Good morning, children. Let's begin with the third chapter of history, the Delhi Sultans. We have studied in the previous classes about the kingdoms existed or large kingdoms existed in the Kaveri Delta, that is in the Tamil Nadu region or South India. Why we haven't studied about the Delhi as the capital of any kingdom? Because we know in the Delhi became an important city only in the 12th century. We have studied earlier classes about much earlier than 12th century. The South India had large empires or the large kingdoms. Here Delhi emerged as the capital city or an important city after the 12th century only. So it became the first capital of the kingdom under the Tomara Rajputs. They were Tomars or the Tomara Rajputs established the kingdom around Delhi. So who were the defeated in the middle of the 12th century by the Chauhans. Chauhans also ruled over the regions of Delhi and around Delhi. So Tomara Rajputs and Chauhans also were known as the Chahamanas. These people, these kingdoms ruled over the Delhi and the adjoining areas of Ajmer, especially in the Rajasthan region. So under the Tomaras and Chauhans, Delhi became a commercial center or a business center. So people largely started coming to Delhi or living or settled here, and especially traders also lived in these regions. So many rich Jain merchants lived in the city, and they also constructed large number of temples around Delhi. So this period we can find the coins also minted here, and such coins which was minted or produced from Delhi was known as Delhi wall. So these type of coins were in a wide circulation during this period. Now, how this Delhi had transformed into a capital city? We know that it became a commercial center, that means a business center. Later it became a capital city under the Sultanate in the beginning of the 13th century. There were 5 kingdoms or 5 dynasties ruled in Delhi under the Delhi Sultans. They were all Muslim rulers. So the Delhi Sultans built many cities in the area that we know now presently as Delhi. So Delhi is not, it was a single city, but all around Delhi they found many other important cities. Now we can find what we call as Delhi is, there are many cities or the large towns existing around Delhi. So how we can find all these inscriptions, how was the administration of these kings or the sultans, which we often say Delhi Sultans. This we can find in many inscriptions and even coins or architecture. These all are giving some information about the administrative styles or the society or economy of the Delhi Sultans. So especially inscriptions we can find and architecture, and from that also we can find this type of information. Especially we can find valuable informations are given in the histories. History means it's a written records. They often call it as Tariq in singular or Tawarik in plural. These are written in a Persian languages, which means the history of the empire or the Delhi Sultans are written in a Persian language. So this was the language, or the Persian language was used in the administration by the Delhi Sultans. So Delhi Sultans used Persian language, especially the books are written in the Persian language. Also the authors of this Tawarik or these histories were learned men. They were very wise men, well educated, learned men. They were also, we can find the secretaries, administrative poets and courtiers also were given advice from the by the people who were the authors of Tawarikhs. Those were the well-learned men. They used to even advise the rulers. They had such a knowledge and they even advised the rulers also. They often advised the rulers to be a kind, gentle and a just ruler. So this type of advice were given to even rulers by the authors of Tawarikhs. They also we can find some of the important details, additional details in mind, that these authors in Tawarikhs lived in the cities, mainly in Delhi and also hardly ever in villages. They mostly lived in Delhi. They often brought their histories for sultans in hope of some rich rewards from them. We have studied earlier classes also. Those who are writing the chronicles, court chronicles, they were often praising the king. We have studied precious things. What is precious thing? In praise of the king. They exaggerated the real story. So here also that authors of Tawarikhs, they were expecting some rewards from the sultans or the rulers. So they might have exaggerated these stories also. What is reality, and sometimes they might have exaggerated. So these authors of Tawarikhs often advised the rulers, and also they advised the rulers to become an ideal ruler, so that there will be an ideal social order based on the birthright. Sometimes these people learned men, like in our country we know earlier in the Brahmins had a particular position, the higher position in the society. So like that these authors of Tawarikhs also had such kind of birthright. Okay, they also had a position in the society. They considered it as their birthright. Also gender distinctions were there. They considered women are inferior and men are superior than women also. So in 1236 in the year of 1236, Sultan Iltumish's daughter Razia became the Sultan. We know that a female, the daughter of Iltumish, Razia became the Sultan. So the chronicler of this age, during that period, the author of Tawarikh or the chronicler, his name was Minhaj-e-Siraj. He recognized that she was the daughter of Iltumish. Razia was more capable than her brothers. Even though she had brothers, they did not become the Sultan. Instead, that the daughter of Iltumish and Razia became the queen or the Sultan of the kingdom. But he was not, the Minhaj-e-Siraj was not comfortable Razia as the queen, or he was not ready to accept a woman as the queen or the ruler of the kingdom. So there are other nobles. We know that there were many Turkish nobles lived in the kingdoms. The 40 nobles, they were now in the kingdoms. They were also not ready to accept Razia as the ruler of the kingdom. They only wanted men, any man, or become the ruler. So that these people all together removed Razia from the throne in 1240. So as per the Minhaj-e-Siraj, the chronicler, we can find some of the writings. Okay, so how the queen's rule was against the ideal social order created by the God. How these people said in his writing, we can find that God has created the only men to become the rulers, not females. A daughter or other queens cannot become, females cannot become the rulers. So how Razia became the queen, that is against the social order created by God. That was the concept of Minhaj is Raja, so that the people, the nobles of the kingdom rebelled against Razia, and these all people removed her from the throne. Okay, so that even though she had such kind of qualities, she was very capable, efficient than her brothers, but she became the ruler, and later on the nobles rebelled against her and removed her. Same we can find in the other stories of India. Some of the female rulers also ruled in some regions like Razia. South India, when we go, we can find the Kakatiya dynasty. Rudrama Devi, Queen Rudrama Devi became the ruler of Kakatiya dynasty in Warangal region, that is in the present day bifurcated Andhra Pradesh, that is in the Telangana region. Okay, so the Kakatiya dynasty's capital was Warangal. Present day we can find in the Telangana region. So Rudrama Devi, she was also a female. She became the ruler of a kingdom. Same story we can find another queen Didda. She ruled the Kashmir region, and her title is coming Didda. How she obtained the name? It is coming from Didi, elder sister. In the word we know that Didi, elder sister. That means it shows that she was such an affectionate ruler. She wanted to be known as Didi for her people, so that like this few people ruled over the females, also became the efficient rulers and ruled over the some of the kingdoms. So, okay, in the coming class tomorrow we will study what is a garrison town or the empire, how the Delhi was expanded all around the capital city.